Every company deals with turnover, right? But trying to figure out exactly where you're losing your absolute best people, that usually feels like a total guessing game. Well, welcome to this explainer, because today we're completely ending that guesswork. We aren't just going to look at generic numbers. Nope. We're going to use a highly specific, targeted metric to find out exactly where the structural leaks are happening in our workforce. Let's get into it. We're talking about a very specific thing here, a drain of talent. We really need to stop looking at employee loss as just another dry, boring HR statistic. When your people leave, it is an urgent, critical drain on the entire organization. You're losing institutional knowledge, you're losing momentum, and you're losing culture. Think about it like this. If your bathtub is draining, you don't just sit there and calculate how much water is gone, right? You find the open drain. And that is exactly what we are going to learn how to do today. Okay, let's dive into this. To find that leak, we need a precise, surgical tool. And that tool is calculating attrition band or level-wise. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's the method to calculate the attrition among employees working in a particular band or level. Instead of just saying something vague like, oh, we lost 10% overall, this actually lets us isolate the exact strata of the company that's experiencing the turnover. Section 1, categorizing headcount, breaking down the organization. So to solve this organizational mystery, we absolutely cannot just look at the massive singular whole. I mean, a 10% turnover rate company-wide, that might sound totally manageable. It might even keep the board happy. But when we shift our view and actually categorize that headcount by band and level, a completely different story emerges. We might discover that while total turnover is 10%, the turnover for our mid-level engineers is actually hitting 40%. Suddenly, that manageable number is a full-blown operational crisis. This structural deconstruction is literally your prerequisite. You take the total headcount of your organization and you chop it up. First, it gets categorized by band, which is usually your functional areas or comp grades. And then it's categorized by level, so junior all the way up to senior. You have to precisely organize your people into these specific buckets before the math can actually tell you anything useful. Section 2, the math, calculating the ratio over time. Now, the absolute beating heart of this investigation is the ratio. We aren't just counting heads walking out the front door here. The ratio levels the playing field, which allows us to accurately calculate and compare attrition across departments of wildly different sizes. Say you're comparing your massive sales team to your boutique legal department. The ratio is the ultimate equalizer for attrition metrics. But here's the thing. A ratio is really only a snapshot unless we give it a proper timeline, monthly, quarterly, and yearly. Tracking this isn't some one-and-done event. It is an ongoing, structured timeline of analysis. A monthly ratio might warn you of a sudden spike because of a bad policy change. A quarterly ratio, that helps you spot those seasonal trends. And the yearly ratio gives you that ultimate macroeconomic view of your organization's health. You have to track it across time to actually see the story the data is trying to tell you. So, to quickly summarize this methodology, Step 1, categorize your total headcount by band and level. Step 2, calculate the attrition ratio for employees in a particular band. And Step 3, track it monthly, quarterly, and yearly. These aren't just cold mechanics, folks. These are the vital signs of your business's health. It's literally the difference between panicking over a vague problem and strategically managing a known variable. Section 3, the reveal, finding the highest strain. Now, what's really interesting about this is where all this math actually leads us. It brings us to the ultimate question. Which band or level had the highest drain of talent? Everything we've done up to this point has been built just to answer this exact question. Because when you plot these calculated ratios out, boom, the mystery is solved visually right in front of you. If your mid-level engineering band suddenly spikes to 40%, a chart like this makes it jump right off the page. You don't have to guess if your retention problem is hanging out in senior leadership or down in entry-level sales anymore. The highest metric tells you exactly where the bleeding is happening. And listen, this right here is exactly why this methodology is a total game changer. We've just journeyed from a super vague sense of loss to a razor-sharp targeted insight. By calculating this specific attrition band or level-wise, you've transformed a generalized company-wide panic into actionable data. Now you can direct your HR interventions, your culture initiatives, and your budget exactly where they are actually needed most. So I want you to think about this for a second. If you tracked the ratio monthly, quarterly, and yearly, which of your organization's levels would show the highest drain today? Are you losing your future leaders, or is it your seasoned veterans walking out the door? Don't let the talent drain remain a mystery. Take this framework, go run the numbers, and find out for yourself. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.